Recently, I wrote an essay for my English class on AI cautions that should be brought up to the media with its recent development. In that document, I speak on how bringing AI into professional fields and daily lives could worsen company greed by tenfold. Companies already save thousands by placing factories in lower income countries to save on taxes, import and export fees, and Shein's favorite, labor costs. Allowing robots that can work 24/7 with no mental strain or fatigue would only benefit companies. In my essay, I explain how companies favor speed and results over consequences. We strive for a better tomorrow, but never ask what can we do for today. I created this video as I felt making teenagers and young adults sit through a paper won't reach many, but a video that can play in the background while you're multitasking on whatever you do in your free time sounds way better. Disclaimer. I do not believe any of this will actually happen. While you can take whatever prophecy slash theory you want from this video, I'm simply trying to complete an English assignment, bro. None of this content, I believe, is like possible outside of science fiction and shouldn't legally be allowed, even if it is, just saying. But if you do take anything from this video, take this disclaimer. Do not go and spread false rumors about what AI can do simply because you've seen one sci-fi show about how the world ends 1,000 different ways. Today, we'll be going over a show called Pantheon, released on September 1st, 2022, an AMC animated story directed by Craig Silverstein. I'm going to rapid fire character details. One, I highly recommend watching. It's a nicely animated show and amazing storytelling. Every episode left me in suspense. This short summary isn't enough, but not going to get into each character because two, look at the time of this video. I don't have time for that. Okay, rapid fire. First, the Kims, introducing Maddie, Ellen, and David. I don't know why they gave her the cut to. To summarize their involvement in the story, Maddie's father, David, was scanned and placed into a computer by a company called Logarithms, who told Ellen, who was his wife, that he died and instead used him in a secret freezer in Norway to complete months of work in days. But he needs more than just knowledge to work, he needs motive, and his motive was mainly his family. Eventually, after implanting small amounts of memory into David's not awake brain, it sort of woke him up and allowed him to gain consciousness enough to talk to Maddie, and where Maddie could then get help from Lori to then free him from Logarithms. It gets so much worse, so just stay with. Next up, Chanda, Lori, and Gabe. Lori and Gabe are a married couple, and while getting spontaneous, was rammed in the back of their car by an 18-wheeler on the way to their cabin where they could have been spontaneous there. Gabe lives after this crash, but Lori is put into a coma, and Lori is actually super smart in the stock trade. Like, she makes tons of money in the stock market. So after being put in a coma, Gabe is offered the ability to put her into this sort of uploaded intelligence because he doesn't know if she's even going to make it alive. So after being told that, he thinks that putting her into a computer is the best way to save her. After that, they do the whole thing. They told Ellen that Lori died, just like they did with David, and then keep Lori locked up. Eventually, Lori escapes, and then Lori then connects Maddie, and Maddie and them go save David. Okay, next up we got Chanda. Chanda was forced into the whole uploaded intelligence thing by his company, which is an off-brand of Logarithms based in India. Because of that, he wasn't really done the proper way. He was scanned alive, like layer by layer. Honestly, really messed up. He has a lot of anger issues, and he was left alone in isolation. So who knows what he's about to do? Well, I know, and it's not good. Stephen Holstrom, aka Fake Einstein, aka Fake Steve Jobs. He's also Caspian, but we'll speak about that more later. First of all, Stephen was a revolutionary coder. His mind was similar to Stephen Jobs in the fact that he created these great coding advancements in technology. With that, he founded Logarithms. He found a way to upload a brain in his research to the internet, allowing a person to physically move and live in code, which sounds honestly insane, right? Massive flaw in his code. It's the fact that after a certain amount of time, your brain would slowly decay. Okay, with the whole decaying brain part, this is where Caspian comes into play. See, Stephen Holstrom, he found out he was dying of cancer. And with that, his last moments, he decided to put the uploaded UI project on the side and focused on cloning. I don't know why, but he focused on cloning. Basically, to solve his death problem, and he wanted to finish his math problem that would eventually solve the decaying process in UI, he created a clone of himself. But Caspian isn't no regular clone. Well,
Main point of Stephen Holstrom was the fact that he wasn't just this genius coder. It was actually the fact that his father walking out on him and his mother after being in an abusive relationship for multiple years, causing him to actually support his mother on his own, making him the man he is today. With that knowledge, Caspian couldn't just grow up as Stephen Holstrom. He needed that actual trauma to be Stephen Holstrom, to have the mind or the actual time and love it takes to be this genius coder, to love the project the exact same. You can obviously imagine this step was taken very far, as the mother and father were both paid actors and childhood friends of Stephen Holstrom, and they also even paid an actor to play his girlfriend where they could possibly do sexual favors for a bonus in their salary.
the main point of this whole video and me explaining is that we have shown countless times that we are nowhere near ready to implement new systems when even now there's current systems that we constantly overlook. Throughout the whole show, every company and government official in possession of UI has lied and corrupted everything over personal greed. Stefan, for example, in the events of trying to complete his life goal, I repeat, learned how to clone humans. But that's only the first step. Stefan's one-of-a-kind mind wasn't born just from his love of coding. Stefan had a motive, and that motive had to be forced onto his clone, which caused a lot of forced trauma, which is fake and also really messed up to force onto a person. The owner of Logarithms set up a whole experiment just to make one singular outcome that would benefit his ideal world. Same for the off-brand Logarithms that was based in India, where they thought that if they were the first to be there, that their profits and their social standing would go up because they were the first to do it, which is why they rushed and forced a perfect clone. Which is why I call this obsession and not greed. In efforts to evolve the world, a group of great minds would band together over a singular goal and obsess over the outcome, overlooking any potential flaws at any point in the process. In the story, Stefan's top man, his best friend, says, by the time he said we're going to fix death, all I said was, okay, boss. In my essay, I bring up an early 1800s news article about food companies and how they process their food, purposely cutting costs on things even like sanitation just to save in time, bringing risk to customers and workers by profiting off of small things. Until they were caught, did they actually change the process on how they packaged and manage meat, where now we have food inspectors and people that actually go and make sure that everything is managed properly and all the food is healthy. Time and time again, we create a free market, set no rules, and let the rich run free to test the scraps on lower income individuals. I like to emphasize, AI is not new. We only recently made a breakthrough in connecting them to bodies with Elon, making companies implementing it into their already working system. Probably before we were even born, AI is going to have a big change offline and online jobs, putting effort into implementing it correctly so that no one feels left out or the economy doesn't have a major shift is very important to not set us back in humanity. The next topic I want to talk about is humanity even ready to actually accept AI into our life? AI, yes, is an amazing thing, but constantly in this show and in real life, we have shown that people are not ready for the next step automatically. It has to be introduced slowly in the way of growing the next generation than simply just throwing it in with the old generation. For example, the new UI development, Chanda thought it was an amazing idea to send out all the knowledge he has on UI out to all other major governments so they can upload their own people in and so he can create a world for them to live in. Chanda didn't know about the actual decaying process before he did that. So what he really did was send an unfinished project out to the whole world that no one actually knew. What I'm trying to explain is the more they shown humanity actually interacting with what UI can do, the more stupid humanity made themselves look. For example, there was an astronaut who trained to go to Mars. Yet, instead, the US government thinks it will be a good idea to give her this assignment to allow her to go into the UI development, leaving her family behind. Now, You would think her main question is, what is going to happen to me? But she instead asks, will I be the first? Which we know she won't be, but the US government tells her she will be. So when I emphasize that humanity isn't ready to actually accept AI into our lives, what I mean is we obviously still we obviously process selfish and greedful thoughts. It's part of human nature. And honestly, while there is something wrong with it, the real problem with it is how it's contained. What I mean by contained is the fact that it needs discipline. While I can understand your goal is to achieve for the most money in the year for your company, certain setbacks or certain cuts should be necessary. It should be added to what you should make. It should be added into your total revenue. Just because you made a certain amount, cutting something back from what it used to be doesn't mean that it's actually profitable. So take this video with a grain of salt. All I'm saying is we're greedy and selfish people. And the fact, if you let people be greedy and selfish, they'll take it way out of hand